Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. We have some brand new developments in the case of an Ohio father accused of murdering his 3 young sons. A judge has ruled that Chad Doerman's confession that he allegedly gave during his interrogation will be thrown out. On Friday, the judge ruled that the defendant's rights were violated twice when police skipped parts of the Miranda warnings and when detectives continued questioning Chad Doerman after he asked for an attorney. Doerman could face the death penalty if he is convicted, and his case is scheduled to go to trial in July. But now with this recent ruling, that could change. This is big, big news and could really be key to this case. Let me bring in our guests. I have with me retired Deputy Inspector with the NYPD, Corey Pegues, and Attorney Tommy Pope, retired SLED agent and former prosecuting attorney in South Carolina. Oh my, we had a guy who stayed put after his 3 sons were shot to death, and police said he confessed. He told us all about what he did, and now the jury is not going to hear any of it. And the reason the judge has found the police really messed this up. I want to get your reactions on that. As 2 people who have served, and we thank you for your service, respectively, in law enforcement, how they bungled this. And now one of the best pieces of evidence against this guy, poop, has gone out of the trial. Corey.
Sad, despicable, horrifying.
Yep.
This guy allegedly murdered those 3 babies, one of them running out the house from the first shooting.
Right.
And they get to toss all of this information out.
Yep.
This is almost, Tommy agreed, this is like policing 101.
Isn't this horrible?
This is horrible. But again, you know, for me, coming from big city policing, I look at it and say, this is small town policing. Everyone knows the clock stops. They ask for a lawyer, the clock stops. You read them their Mirandas, if they want to hear them or not. You read them anyway. You just read them all the time. This is policing 101.
Thank you.
I would love to see, Tommy would agree, who was interviewing him. And when I say that, like, how much time did this person have on the job?
Oh, yeah. We got a clip of the guy doing the interviewing. Let's look at him.
Is it a rookie, Tommy? You understand?
You know,
a rookie detective?
That's a good question. His last name is Ross. Let's roll that clip now where he's talking about how he thought that defendant Chad Doerman was playing games. Let's take a look.
Everybody knows, we trust, except perhaps for the detectives involved, that when a custodial interrogation is underway and the suspect clearly says, I want a lawyer, that isn't the start of a test. That isn't the start of an officer's invitation to a detective to quiz about name, rank, and serial number of a lawyer. That's the time they stop. They stop, get up, and go. That's what they should have done. That happened within about 5 minutes of the interrogation. 45 minutes goes by. He asks again, where's the lawyer? And at that point, he is again ignored. If he had the wherewithal, as the state asserts, to know his situation, to know where he was, to assure officers he posed them no risk, then likewise, he had the wherewithal to clearly say, I want a lawyer, period.
What do you understand you're supposed to do when a suspect who's in custody clearly asks for a lawyer?
If they clearly ask for a lawyer, which I've done on other cases, on other homicide cases, they clearly ask for a lawyer, I stop questioning them,
right?
Which I've done before. In this case, he did not clearly say he wanted a lawyer.
But you said that you tried to clarify it with him. That's what you're saying these questions you asked him about, whether he had a lawyer or not, were designed to do.
I did try to explore that and clarify his comments, but he continued playing games with me.
Okay, Tommy Puppy saying every other homicide case he knows to stop, but in this one it was gameplay. This were 3 dead kids. He thought, let's not be cautious, let's push, as this guy is unsure of what he wants. Your reaction, please, Tommy.
I think you pointed out the issue. I think, and again, I don't, as Corey said, I don't know this guy's experience. It sounded like he has previous experience. I think the emotion of the horror of this case, of the nature of the deaths of those children, overtook this officer's emotions. In other words, instead of just, you have to be cool under fire, no matter the nature of the case. I've had it in death penalty cases. You can't threaten somebody with the death penalty. And I've had officers that are so angry about the circumstances of the murder that they'll, allude to the death penalty and getting it off your chest and all the police tactics, but ultimately they take it too far. My guess is here, this was a horror like that officer had never seen. I can tell you, child deaths are worse than anything we deal with in law enforcement. And I think probably what happened is they tried to gild the lily, because I'm not sure ultimately this is going to change the verdict. You and I have talked before about death penalty cases. You need a solid penalty before you can a solid guilt before you can get to the penalty. I don't think it's going to change it because of the nature of the facts and circumstances. I think he let his emotions overtake him.
Yeah, this is really messed up. I mean, it also makes me wonder if it will have any effect on what the jury finds if the defendant goes for some kind of a mental health related defense. Tommy, I keep thinking with this confession taken out, what kind of statements was he making? Was he in his right mind when he sat down and talked to police? And it's just like that. It's just, like I said, poof, the case just changed in an instant with the judge's ruling. I want to go back to that horrific day where we know that there were a couple 911 calls that were placed. I've got one of them now. Let's take a listen.
Can you tell how many people have been shot?
I think 2 children.
Okay. All right. what was
that
your
I've seen?
There's a girl running down the street saying that her stepfather is killing everyone in her family.
And what did the female say to you?
And she says that her stepfather is killing everybody in her house. I did. I'm on the phone with them right now.
Did she say how or what was happening?
I asked her to get in the car with me, and she said she couldn't leave her family.
Okay, and thank goodness, we still have this evidence, right? The child who survived, the stepdaughter who witnessed this. Corey, your thoughts, please.
That's heart-wrenching. Just imagine that. She says, my stepfather was killing everybody in the house. She offered to for her to get in the car, and the girl was like, I can't leave my family. That's heart-wrenching. That's going to really move the jury. Let me get back to what Tommy said, though. Spot on. Police officers got to keep their emotions out of the interrogation. Just do your job.
Yeah, and I'm sure it is so hard. I could never do the job that you both have done. Never could. Have the utmost respect for everyone, all of the men and women who serve in law enforcement. I say all the time, it's the toughest job in the world. I will say this, though, and I can speak from the experience of someone who was an ADA. When your police bungle something on a case and you're left to deal with their mess, it is aggravating. And when you think about, right, like when you mess up the Miranda warnings, like something that, like kids in grade school know the Miranda warnings, don't they, Corey?
Right.
This is really bad.
And even listen to what the detective said, Tommy. I wasn't clear on what he was saying. That right there. Even if you're not clear, stop. If you even think that they alluded to a lawyer, stop.
Exactly.
And where was, I know when we do investigations or we're interrogating, there's usually a boss outside or nearby, Tommy, watching us interrogate. It's a triple homicide. There's nobody else to tell him, hey, Joey.
Great point.
Stop.
Great point.
Small town policing. I promise you that.
Yeah. Tommy, your thoughts on this? I saw you nodding as Corey was speaking.
Well, I was thinking what Corey said. You normally have a partner. I always, even if I tried a case, even if I was the senior prosecutor, I'd have one of my new folks, somebody that's outside the bubble of what's going on, because there's been times that I let my emotions get the best of me in the courtroom, and I might accidentally open a door on something we got ruled out. I remember I got frustrated with the psychology, and I said, well, why would she say that? Which is the dumbest question, you could ever ask, an open-ended question. And my my co-counsel dropped a book on the floor to snap me out of it, to make me go back to the table to get me there. So that's what you want. It's almost somebody saved me from myself. And I think this officer could have used some of that.
Right, and no, I appreciate you sharing that story, Tommy, because you're right. That's what a great trial partner is going to do. What a great, police partner is going to do. Stop you when they can see something you can't. And if this guy was either inexperienced, emotional, in his head, whatever the issue was, you're right. Where were all the other detectives? I mean, this is a triple homicide. 3 babies are dead, and their dad is suspected. And you know what else, too? This wasn't like an adrenaline rush of a chase. This guy's sitting on the porch. He's on his porch. He waited for the cops to come. He submitted. There was no fight. There was no brutal takedown. There was no struggle. This guy was totally submissive, totally cooperative. And why they couldn't do this interview properly, I have no idea. This stinks that this confession is thrown out. I'm getting so mad just talking about this.